Okay, night scene foliage macro. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pot here and I'm going to try and put it on there so I can get up and fill in the 6mm slot with some blue tack. Handles very heavy. So about there. And see that soil there? See how dry looking that soil is? Now for my jar work, what it's telling me is that it's so bad and nothing will change if it's dry. However, if I keep it wet, it should actually not only fix nitrogen, but it should fix more nitrogen than the other ones down there. So in other words, if I keep it wet, and also if I actually mixed in the formula with the cellulose, and kept the cellulose really wet, it would actually fix more nitrogen than even that one has, and you get even more growth that way. So and it's also telling us why the soil in these places is so sterile and why we have so much trouble with the plants, because they're existing in the soil that's almost sterile but very high in nitrogen, but it only fixes the nitrogen if it's a hydration reaction, basically, in other words. So it has to stay wet for the hydration reaction to occur. In other words, it doesn't actually fix nitrogen until, that's why, look how dry it is. Therefore, when it stays dry, it hasn't got the power to fix any nitrogen. That's the theory anyway, it's coming out of the jar work. So what I'm going to try and do, if that is so, if the jar work is telling me the truth, what I'm going to do, this is the one that's got the highest amount, so therefore it should in theory fix me even more nitrogen. I am going to plug up the hole and then just saturate this pot and just leave it saturated. Every time it slightly dries down, I'm going to fill it up again and just leave it for the same amount of time as there, which is about 3 or 4 months for those. And if the soil goes brown, like that one's gone brown, or even darker than brown to get to the colour of peat and things like that, well then basically that's what it's saying is what the theory that's coming out of the jar work is true in the real world, in the pot, in the 10 times pot world sort of thing. So yeah, so we go from our little mini jars to our tubs to the real world out here in the bucket world, or bucket chemistry world, and it means everything is what's the word, not in comparison, I've forgotten the word anyway. So what I'm going to do is try and fill up this one-handedly. Maybe I have to stop the clip, but what I want to do is to see if I can get, yeah, there's the slit, that's what I'm going to fill up with the blue tack, hopefully, and then I'm going to just saturate it and just leave it and keep it saturated for 3 or 4 months and see what happens. If the soil goes brown on the surface there, you know, I think we're in, and I think we're quids up, because basically the two worlds of jar work and this bucket chemistry are basically coming together to say basically the same thing, that nitrogen is actually fixed from the atmosphere into the soil, but when you get to higher levels, you've got to keep the soil saturated in order for that to work. So I think I'm going to have to do this in two stages, fellas. Just first fill up the little gap, and then put the, oh, yeah, fellas, it's hard, I know, but someone's got to do the fucking work, isn't they? Otherwise our hobby's just going to, yeah, well basically that's what's happened with our hobby, isn't it? It's no one's ever done the real work. Well, probably because no one had to drive, because they probably didn't grow up in WA. In the bush didn't sort of show them all those lovely secrets, you know. And by the way, I've only learnt recently that Phil Mann died a month ago, basically. A little over a month ago, I think it is. I just learnt it the other night, so yeah. So yeah, I got my first Venus fly traps, just a pot of, 2 pots of Venus fly traps, 2 pots of Joshua Capensis, the standard Kate one, and I think it was a cephalotus, and then later on he gave me some cuttings. There's a whole backstory to the cephalotus story. I'm not sure if I told you. I may have already partly told the story. Yeah, so anyway, that might be good. I don't know, I think I'm going to use the whole lot, fella, because I definitely want this to keep there. And even if, yeah, I think I spread it out, or maybe do it in 2 sections to make sure we get it done. I want to make sure that this actually does hold the water and does saturate, because we're putting the theory to the test, and this is what's coming. The theory is coming out of the jar work. Then, and also what it's saying is this pot's only number 4. I should be able to go up much higher than 4, which means we're going to get even more nitrogen, and also the possibility of bigger and even bluer fly traps sort of thing, you know. So, you know, if the theory, but this will be the test run with this one. If this goes brown, if I leave it saturated, and eventually after 3 or 4 months the actual surface of the soil goes brown as that other pot, or even browner, maybe it'll do it even more rapidly, I don't know. But I have to, according to this, I've got to keep it saturated. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. Oh, and we'll sit that back down on there. If this handle will hold out and it doesn't just fall apart, I'm going to do it really slowly. Hopefully it'll sit on there and it'll settle itself down. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to slowly put it up and saturate it, and we'll keep an eye on it over the next 3 or 4 months, which will take us from, I suppose, what, middle of September to October, November, December, into early January. And we're going to, so it'll be saturated when there'll be a lot of heat around, getting towards the hottest time. We might get some, we might get a surprise. We might get lots of moss and even some liverworts growing on there. I doubt it, because we're in the wrong time of the year, but it'll be interesting. Anyway, the first thing we'll see, will the soil actually change from this almost dry, gnarly looking soil, which, you know, doesn't want to grow anything, to go right completely beyond that one. It should go slightly better than that one, actually. Yeah, hang on, no, where is it? Where's the one? One of these ones, is that a 1? Yeah, that's a 1. So that's a 4. You might go 4 times better than that one, fellas. So yeah, we're starting to get some growth, by the way, and we've got some nice growth coming on there. And I've even got this flava, which is in the other formulation, which is the failed formulation. As I said, we had these 2 formulation, and that's the winner. You know, that lovely nice brown soil there, can you see that? Anyway, we'll see how we do it, and the next 4 months to around about the middle of January, we'll see what happens. Okay, good, test the old scientific method. Okay, over and out.